Britain decolonized in the 70s and 80s. Australia looks at them with great concern because they've almost all been hollowed out by China, and yet we don't even talk about it.
What's fascinating for Europeans and Westerners, we sort of think as the Pacific as somewhere so far away it won't affect us. But the truth is, it's just exactly the same as it was in the First World War, Second World War. The same conflict and the dynamics of the conflict of island hopping and controls and spheres of influence is being replayed. And if I was in Australia, I'd be terrified of the encroachment in a Guadalcanal type methodology towards the Australian homelands, which they've been acting out. And everywhere, whether it's Barbados, you talked earlier about the loss of British membership. I was over there recently talking to people in Barbados saying, were you aware of what's just happened to your country? You've been seduced by the Chinese, and they answered, we didn't know, and only a few of our politicians really led the charge. It's happening everywhere before our eyes.
Yeah.
It's a form of colonialization, and following from that colonialization is the use of military bases to create a string of pearls, which creates control mechanisms and constricts our control of the oceans, which is essentially our freedom.
Which they've got right across the Indian subcontinent now. They basically got all Britain's Indian Empire ports, and they've made them state-of-the-art ports. And in Barbados, as you just mentioned, Sir Gary Sobers, the great cricketer, is among many fully convinced that in a country where there has never been more than 24% support for a republic, it was basically China pushed the political class into ditching the monarchy. I mean, where is the, when you look at Latin America in particular, because the Americans are supposed to have something called the Monroe Doctrine, in which they tell the world to butt out of Latin America because it's their backyard and none of the other great powers should interfere. Well, the Chinese are interfering now and the Americans are doing nothing about it. Why is that?
It's symptomatic of a hegemon in deep decay. It's unable to project and maintain its spheres of influence. And Ukraine is an example. It's a terrible example because Ukraine isn't in the West sphere of influence. We're a step too far and our head is stuck out too far. But all over the world, you're seeing this encroachment, and the acceleration came about with the rout from Afghanistan. That was a signal for hegemonic challenge on an epic scale. But the thing that really we should be most concerned about is the Belt and Road Initiative and the island mechanism of port acquisitions. Means nothing without a navy to operate from it. And China has the biggest shipbuilding capability in the world right now. So its naval arms race, which it's undergoing, is akin to the run-up to 1914. And the US Navy, through aerial denial weapons, has lost control of the regions around Taiwan. It can't counter these saturation missile attacks. And deep down, she understands that with that card up his sleeve, he can keep pushing America, and until America deploys new defensive weapons, it's really on the back foot, more than the press even realizes over Taiwan and the region's stability as far as American influence is concerned.